Welcome again to the Russia Community Church, where we are getting ready for our evidence number 3 of the case for Christ's resurrection. Before I move on, there's a couple of things I want to make sure you understand is we're doing most of these live, and we make mistakes. And you might have noticed that I'm not the only one here doing this whole thing, but Mark Curtis is videoing, and you got to see him, just a brief second of him yesterday. So we want to thank Mark for all his hard work, and we appreciate this opportunity. Those of you that know me know that I love to do children's sermons. And I love to do magic tricks or science projects go along with them. Oftentimes they don't work. But today we're going to talk about Jesus, and that Jesus died on the cross. He was then taken for a tomb and put in a tomb. Now this, plain old McDonald's bag, represents the tomb. Now this represents Jesus, and we're going to put Jesus right in the tomb. He's right in there. Now, we're going to seal the tomb, and we remember that for 3 days, 1, 2, 3, for 3 days, he was in that tomb. And then when they came, the women came, they saw that the tomb was open and that Jesus was gone. Thank you. Thank you, all 2 of you. Our evidence today is number 3, and it's the sepulcher. It's the empty tomb. Now, honestly, everyone really agrees that the tomb was empty. If the body had been there, there really wasn't or hadn't been much of a controversy because the body was there. And the whole thing is that the disciples are claiming that he had risen, just like he had told them that they would do. So that's really not the big issue, but the tomb was empty. So what we're asking ourselves today is, where did it go? What happened to the body? Well, maybe the authorities did it themselves. Maybe they took the body, they stashed it somewhere to hide it. But that doesn't make any sense, because when the disciples started preaching that he was risen and Jesus' resurrection, they would immediately had produced the body. And they would have said, oh, no, we knew you were going to do this. Here's the body right here. But that didn't happen. Maybe it was the disciples. Well, we've already talked about evidence 1 and 2 about how they would not have been able to get to the tomb. They wouldn't have been able to remove the stone from the tomb. But let's just say, for argument's fact, somehow, some way they did it, and they did it for a hoax. And they got the body, they did something with the body, and then they said, look, he's resurrected. Well, that theory is impossible, and let me tell you why. These disciples were willing to die for the gospel of Jesus Christ, his death, burial, and resurrection. They were willing to go to prison and to be beaten and to be eventually killed. And for the story of Jesus Christ and his resurrection. And people just are not willing to be martyrs for a lie. People just don't do that. They are just not willing to give their life for what they know is a lie. So they were sure and they knew that Jesus was resurrected. And another interesting thing is, where did the disciples go to preach this about Jesus' resurrection? Well, you know, if it was a hoax or something was fishy about it, they would have gone away. They would have gone to a next village or far away where people didn't know all the details and everything, but they didn't do that. They went straight back to Jerusalem, the scene of the crime. And if they started preaching the resurrection when everyone else knows that tomb was still in the body was still in the tomb, it wouldn't have been able to be sustained for 1 day. So the empty tomb was an empty tomb. Jesus was gone. Stay tuned as we get even deeper and more interesting facts about the tomb and so on, as we continue to look into the evidence of the case for Jesus Christ. This is evidence number 3, the empty tomb. Thank you.